Freedom fighters, I'm coming back at you with another one. And today's topic is going to be something I saw breaking on Trey Vietnam's post. Well, he wasn't probably the first person to break the story, but it was the first person I saw talking about it that came up on my feed. And if you don't know who Trey Vietnam is, by the way, he's a fellow gun tuber and 2A advocate that makes some good content, so go check him out. Um, but anyway, he was talking about the pizza guy who got shot and killed. And I'm not talking about a delivery man, I'm talking about the guy who got caught up in the pizza conspiracy. I'm trying to avoid the term here, but um, not a fence, but a gate. So yeah, pizza fence. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Um, but if not, let me fill you in, I guess. But yeah, so there's the whole conspiracy surrounding the pizza thing, which is really no longer a conspiracy. Isn't it funny how all the conspiracy theories always kind of turned into conspiracy fact? But I mean, this is literally from the horse's mouth. I mean, the FBI came out with a classified report a while back, actually, a couple of years ago now, I think, where they confirmed no, pizza is a real code word that these people use for, trafficking. And then there's, different stuff. I think it's pandas as well and hot dogs. And, they came out with a whole list of code words that these people use. And anyway, so maybe this guy went a little too far down the rabbit hole and the, QAnon, conspiracy theory stuff, but um, he was, linking into some stuff, and I guess he saw something at this pizza restaurant. Um, if I remember the story correctly, it had some artwork on there from, one of these people that they all seem to associate with. I don't really understand it, but it's like the Podesta artwork. Whoever does that stuff, I can't remember. They might even do it themselves. But anyway, if you haven't looked into the whole Podesta thing and the Clinton campaign, and Clinton herself has this artwork. A lot of Hollywood celebrities and everything have this kind of artwork. The whole pedo elite, scumbag, people who rule over us with the iron thumb that are really, sickos. But they all have this stuff. Epstein had these pictures. Um, but yeah, on and on. So he saw this kind of artwork, and it's like, if you haven't seen it, I mean, I guess look into it. But they have all this like, underage children like in bondage. They have like gags in their mouths and like handcuffed, or they're in awkward positions. Yeah, some celebrities have done interviews with like little kids. I forget who the lady was that did an interview, and the picture on her wall was of like a dead kid stuffed in a box. And it's like, who's like, when they're picking out artwork or photos, they're like, well, that's a good centerpiece. That's a good thing to place up on the mantle that will really bring energy to the room. That's real feng shui. But anyway, I'm getting into the weeds and describing the whole thing. If you want to look into it further, do your own research as always. Don't take anything I say at face value. Um, but anyway, so this guy went into this pizza restaurant and he let off a couple rounds. He didn't hurt anybody, but I guess he thought they were like holding kids or trafficking kids out of the building. So he looked into that. He, of course, got arrested, went to prison and all that. Well, he was shot and killed a couple weeks ago. And no one's really seemed to talk about it. And I'm going to kind of put my own twist onto the whole, matter. But it kind of goes back to the Trump AI interview I recently did of, asking him and other, politicians and 2A advocates, when is it okay to shoot the authorities? And I also did a recent video called When They Come for the Guns, where they confiscated Owen Schroyer's firearms in his case, and we talked about how they most likely confiscated Nick's from America's First. And, that's what I see this case being. Now, they said they pulled him over on a traffic violation, and he had a warrant out of his, of arrest for his probation violation. So I'm not sure exactly what he did to violate probation, but a lot of times these are very minor offenses. Like literally, like, oh, you didn't show up for a checkpoint, like a check-in, or depending on what it is. I mean, sometimes as much as like smoking a joint or pissing dirty. I mean, I don't know what all his, things were. As long as he didn't commit some egregious crime, I don't believe they should be hauling him back into jail for, some petty bullshit. But anyway, so they pull him over for this traffic violation and then see he has a warrant. And I guess upon trying to put him back into custody and arrest him, he pulls a firearm and they shoot and kill him. Now, the question I'm bringing is that justified? And you would say, well, freedom, how is that ever justified? You're going to pull a firearm and, open fire on the police or, whatnot. Well, because he knows he is a felon in possession and he's doing a minimum 5 years in prison for that. And he already knows he's going back because of the probation violation. But at this point, he knows he's facing gun confiscation and, a prison term for unconstitutional, illegal, unlawful, orders being followed out by the badge. At what point do you resist tyranny? Which has been my question in all these videos. And I think that's what, he was doing. And, maybe this case isn't the perfect example. There's many other cases out there. And I can't remember, man, I think it was Officer Diller, that Trump made a big deal about in New York. One of the cops that got killed there during a traffic stop. And he pulled over some guy that was like in a parking spot or something, and he didn't want to move. He was like sleeping in his car, and then eventually he told the guy, to get out the car, and he pulled a weapon or something, and they shot and killed him. And that guy was in New York. So again, I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember this guy having, he wasn't like the most wanted, guy or anything like that. But he knew he had a firearm in New York City, and he's going down. He's facing 5 years in prison. They're going to confiscate his weapons and all that. And at what point do you resist tyranny? And again, maybe not the perfect example. These aren't shining examples of upstanding citizens. I understand that. But what about Dexter Lawrence? Again, he is the shining example. To my knowledge, had no criminal record. And he was just building his own firearms. His, again, legally lawful constitutional rights. But it goes beyond constitutional. It's natural God-given rights. And that's what he was exercising. That's what he chose to do. And they raided him, confiscated all his materials and his, assembled firearms. And now he's serving 10 years in prison. And I would ask Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Ron DeSantis and, whoever, all these people that are on there, barking on the news about 2A rights and, all this stuff, should have Dexter Lawrence have opened fire on the authorities and defied tyranny. And you'll be surprised by the answer you get by all these people. They're like, oh no, you're just supposed to let the process play out. And what? lose 10 years of your life, 15, 20. And I guess the other thing is, well, you're going to lose your whole life if you fight against it. But, that thinking has what got us to where we're at. That's not what the founding fathers thought when they were sitting on Lexington and Green. Oh, well, we can just kowtow now and, bend over and worship the redcoats and give them away now, but later, we can do something. They're like, no, it's right here, right now. They chose the fight. They want to take our freedom. It ain't happening. They're going to have to kill me to get it. From my cold, dead hands is where that saying comes from. And that's what I believe the pizza dude was doing. He's like, they're not taking it from me. I know what they're going to do. They're going to charge me, put another lengthy prison sentence on me, for some bullshit. And, who knows? And if you want to dig into the weeds, that maybe he came across something. Maybe he actually had, the info this time and was getting ready to leak out or, break some, info of an elite trafficking ring. Whatever. You could go down. Alright, well, the crappy phone craps out once again, so I'm coming back at you a little later to finish up this video. But I pretty much, said what needed to be said or kind of what I was thinking about, so I'm just going to wrap it up here. But I think I left off at, there was some conspiracy theories swirling around that he was getting ready to, leak some info or, break some news that he actually found, like, a true trafficking ring, or that they were going to release something and they had to take them out. And, I don't think it was any of that. I think it was just simply he knew what was coming. He had a firearm on him. He knew he was going to get charged. And he was facing, a future of, a minimum of 5 years to possibly 10, 15 years in prison. And he was just like, I ain't going down with that. I'm not going through this bullshit again. And he made his choice, And on that note, it's we're all gonna have to make our own choices, right? And like I said, on that note, what it is, man. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.